Welcome to ID Spy, this week's MoneyFit Live webinar. My name is Todd Christensen. I am Education Manager and Financial Educator Author at MoneyFit by DRS. Glad to have you here with me. We're going to spend a few minutes talking about the different types of identity theft and talk about identifying that, recognizing it, and then a few practical steps on minimizing it. I'm going to tell you right up front, there is no way you can guarantee you will not be a victim of identity theft. Expect it. It is just a common thing in our society, especially with technology and how we use it and put our information online and in apps and everywhere it goes. At some point, you're liable to be a victim of identity theft, but we can minimize that potential. So let's go ahead and get into identifying which are the types of identity theft. There you see I've got a list here of the different ones we're just going to talk about today. There are many, and some of these, the difference between an identity theft and a scam or fraud. Scam or fraud usually is trying to get you get money directly from you. But identity theft, typically they're trying to get your identifying information. Besides, they probably already have your name. They want to get your social security number. They want to get your date of birth. They may even have that. Now, some also involve asking for money as well. And I do have a couple on here that are actually just scams, but I want to put them up there because they're common. Okay, let's get into these. Pickpockets. Old-fashioned, yes, there are still people that will take your identifying information, your driver's license and other information, credit cards, right from your pocket or from your purse, your wallet. Now, if you drop something and somebody keeps it, it's kind of a passive pickpocketing. But it's the same idea. Somebody finds your information or gathers your information from your wallet, and then they can use that to make purchases or even open up accounts in your name. One thing I'll say here, there are still people who break two cardinal rules when it comes to identity theft. One, never, ever, ever, ever carry your Social Security card in your purse or wallet. Unless you have to show it to somebody, you take it to that person and then return it to a safe place in your home. Never carry your Social Security number or card in your purse or wallet. That's the magic number right there. If somebody finds that, you've just opened yourself up to a lot of headaches and problems down the road. Oh, the other cardinal sin. Do not write your PIN on any of your cards. I don't think there are many people that do this anymore, but there's still from time to time people that will just write a note or they'll put a PIN on a Post-it, put that in another pocket in their wallet. If somebody grabs your wallet and you've got a debit card on one side and a 4-number on a note on the other side, it doesn't take a brain surgeon to figure that one out. Skimmers. Let's talk about skimmers. Now, this is one of those where they're just trying to get your bank information. Not necessarily identity theft, but I want to make sure that you're aware. It just happens. This is one of the most difficult things to prevent because we're so on the go at gas pumps, anywhere you insert a credit card, even in stores. You can see sometimes unscrupulous employees will use their own card skimmer, or it looks just like it. As you can see there, the one on the left. The only difference that you can really see, sometimes the light doesn't go on. There isn't any digital information on the screen, but sometimes it goes in too far. If you have a hard time pulling it back out, that just might be a scammer. So if you're worried about that, ask for a manager, talk to a manager just to confirm, because it happens everywhere. I have a colleague of mine extraordinarily well-informed financially, who was on a trip and checked into a hotel, and the clerk at the front desk asked for the card. She said she never gives the card, let it out of her sight, but she was just right there. She at the counter, but she took it and she couldn't see anything. It took a little longer than she thought she should have it, and it was just beyond her sight. She would have had to lean over to see it. Sure enough, that night she noticed there was some illegal activity, unauthorized activity on her card. So if you're at a gas station, do look for that seal. If it's been broken, that's a sign that that somebody's been tampering with that panel. Okay, now fishers. A fisher is not somebody who's literally fishing, somebody who is sending you emails trying to get you to respond and asking you for, yes, account information, but also personal information. A lot of companies, if you're talking about your business emails, a lot of companies will now have something that will say at the top of the email whether it comes from internal or external source, because people will try and pretend to be somebody that you trust, somebody you know. They might already have your name. They call this spear phishing because it's very targeted. They might have your boss's name. And so it might come from somebody, an email that looks like it's your boss or your best friend or your family member, and they ask for something that seems pretty reasonable. Hey, send me, would you pay for or buy a gift for such and such a client? I'm not in a position to do that right now. And send them a gift card or something like that. And that's one of those ways that they get a lot of money. But also, if they say anytime, of course, you're going to get phishing emails from fraudulent senders who claim to be with your bank or a credit union. How do they know you have that bank? They don't. They just send it to millions of people, and some of them will end up having that bank. Or it might say, hey, closing documents, and just out of the million of people that they're sending to, several hundred are just going through closing with home and need to sign papers, and we just click on it. So be very, very, very careful. Anytime you click on an email, always look that it's coming from. Open up the header so that you can see who the actual email is from. It doesn't matter what the name is; it's the actual email. And even then, links, you want to hover, just before you click on anything, hover over the link with your mouse, and down in the bottom corner, it'll show you what the actual link is. If it's not related to the bank or the lender that you're expecting it from or that it says it's from, but also pay attention if it might be just a couple of letters off, that might be from a fisher. Flaggers are people who go through your neighborhood, middle of the night. They look for mailboxes with flags up, and they steal mail. People still put stuff in the mail, and if it's a bill in there, particularly if it's in a neighborhood with a lot of people in an older generation that still pay with checks, they're going to acid wash those checks, or they're just going to take, even easier, they'll take the account information and the routing information off the checks, and then they'll just print new checks at home and write them up, and it'll come out of your account instead of their own. So those are called flaggers, and you don't want to put your stuff in the mail and put the flag up. Divers, these are dumpster divers, people who go through your garbage looking for your bills, and if they can find it, any bill with an account number on it. Do not put important information into your garbage without shredding it. If you want, now a shredder is going to be your best friend, but you need to understand this. As soon as your garbage hits the curb, the sidewalk, it is public property. It's on public property, and anybody can go through it. Now, if you have a neighbor who's putting out a piece of furniture that's hardly been used, and you're like, hey, I want to go get that, it's not against the law. neither is it against the law for people to go through your garbage looking for your personal information. Posers. These are people who say that they are representing a government agency or a lender. It's basically like phishing. Phishing is done with emails, but posers can do it by phone or in person. You'll get the scams where people will show up on the doorstep and say, "Hey, we just finished a driveway, laying some concrete for a neighbor. We have all this extra stuff, and if you'd like, we could sell it to you. We don't want it to go to waste. We could sell it to you for a quarter of the price." And then you pay them $400, and they never come back. Now that's just downright fraud. That's not identity theft. But identity theft would be somebody calling you and saying, "Hey, I'm from the IRS. You owe back taxes, and if we don't hear from you now, we're going to send out a warrant, or we're going to start garnishing your wages," whatever they're going to threaten you. The IRS never calls you with problems like that. You will always get something in the mail. Same thing with Social Security. Social Security will never call you and ask for your Social Security number. Now, here's the crazy thing. Credit card companies don't call you generally to confirm your information, or they say, "Hey, we just want to make sure you have the card number on you." They will call you and say, "We've noticed some suspicious activity," but they're not going to ask you to confirm that any kind of information on your card. Here's what scammers do. Here's what they will call you and say. Some of them they already have from hacking into systems. They already have your name, your card number, and even your expiration date. But they'll call you and they'll say something like this: "We noticed that there was fraudulent activity on your card. We just want to make sure you still have it in your possession. Can you verify that by giving us the 3-digit card number on the back?" Do not do that. Ask them, "Hey, well, let me call you right back. I'm going to call the number on the back of my card, because on the back of your card it's going to have a number to call in case of fraud or questions." A legitimate company will say, "Totally understandable. Here's my number. I'll wait for you. Here's my extension, and I'll look forward to hearing from you." Those are posers. Insiders. These are the ones that make the news. These are the ones that steal millions of people's identities because they have access to them at stores and at banks, and then they sell them on the dark web. They make the news because it's a big deal. So insiders, they are after your information. What can you do? I try to recommend not storing your passwords or your card numbers in your online accounts. That's one. Two, rather than run your card at the store, now merchants aren't going to like this because they pay more fees this way, but running your card at the store, any store, as a debit card means you have to enter the PIN number. Running it as a credit card doesn't. If a hacker or an insider is able to steal your card number, they can use it. They can use it. It's a little more difficult. But if they can steal your PIN number, your card number, and your PIN number, now they can drain your account and vanish. So I recommend protecting yourself from insiders by not running your debit card as a debit. If you can at all, not avoid that. Directors, these are people, and it's not so common, but they might submit change of address forms to the post office, and then your information, all your letters, all your bills, no longer come to you. Now they go to wherever this other person is. Why? What do they want? They're looking for credit card applications, and they're going to take those applications, change the name, change the address, have them sent somewhere else, but those applications are still tied to your credit and your Social Security number. Surfers, these are shoulder surfers. They're the ones that if you're just punching in your PIN at an ATM or at the market, they are going to be kind of trying to act casually, but they're watching, and if they see that, they get a chance to grab your card. Now they have your card and your PIN. Or if they have more commonly use digital shoulder surfers. They'll install a little pinhole camera above the ATM or on top of a gas pump, and if you don't cover your hand, then they're already gathering your information. They are going to now see your PIN as well. Okay, now this is another one that it's not identity theft, but it's pretty common for if you have grandchildren and you are socially active media on the social media, people will find your information and find out who your grandchild is and they'll probably look for those who look more likely to get into trouble. That's just the reality. It's stereotyping, but hey, that's what identity thieves do. And then they will call up, find your phone number. A lot of times, if you put your phone number on your social media account, you're asking for trouble. Never do that. They will call you up, and you won't be able to understand hardly anything they say. They'll be almost screaming hysterically, and say, "Grandma or Grandpa, this is," and they'll use your grandson or granddaughter's name. And I've been arrested, and don't tell Mom because I'm always in trouble and it's going to be really bad. And please, would you, the sheriff or the police just need $50 to let me out on bail, or $250 or $500, whatever it is, just for bond. And I swear I'll whatever. So that is the grandma scam, and make sure that you have an arrangement with your grandkids that if they're ever in trouble and they need to call you and you just have a simple verification, all you have to do is say, okay, what was the name of your last boyfriend or girlfriend? Or what did I serve you for dinner last week? Or something that you would obviously know. Verify. Please verify. Fake job offers. These happen online. They're everywhere. Craigslist, but also at some of the legitimate job offer sites. You get a job, you get an offer, or you apply for a job online, and then they send you an application. Be careful. You click on that link, and it looks like a legitimate site, but it's redirecting you to a fake site, and it's going to ask you for your name, Social Security number, date of birth, because that's the sort of information that you expect to include on a job application. They disappear, and now they have all your information. Make sure that you confirm what the web address, the URL, the address is before you put any information for offers like that. Trolls. Now let's go back to social media. Trolls are the ones that are looking at. They are infiltrating your friends. And for most people, as long as they're a friend of one of your friends, they can look and see pretty much everything you have on your social media site, on your Facebook, on your Twitter, on your Instagram, on your Snapchat. Friends of friends is all it takes. All you need is one careless friend, and I think we all have them. So it's highly recommendable that you minimize the information you put on your social media. Don't friend everybody just because you knew them in the 3rd grade. You have no idea who we're still dealing with and who their friends are. So trolls, as long as they can get your name and your address, and then they can start posing as you to your other friends and asking them for money, and they are trolls, and it's just awful. So who is the typical identity theft, identity thief? Look at your personal network. Can you tell who it's going to be? The answer is no. You can't. It might be the member of actually one of the most common profiles of an identity thief is a family member. And it's not always malicious. Sometimes a family member is struggling financially and they've lost they haven't been able to pay utilities, and now they're about to get their electricity shut off. And the electricity company says, well, we can't do anything for you. You're going to have have a family member vouch for you. And instead of asking you, they just somehow have your social security number because you left it laying around, or they know where it is, and they sign up in your name, and they still struggle paying the bills. And all of a sudden, 2, 4, 5 years later, you are being served collection accounts because you're responsible, even though you didn't know about it, and you have to go back and fight that identity theft. Even though it's a family member, it's still worth it just to submit if you get a case number from the police. Yes, from the police. They're not going to investigate it. I'm not going to guarantee that, but they have, unless it involves tens of thousands or more, hundreds of thousands of dollars, they just don't have the manpower to investigate that sort of thing. You just need a case number to get it removed from your credit report and to get it to deal with the collection agency or with the original creditor. So just pay attention to that and know that it happens. Okay, here are the steps. Just 6 things here. 1, ask yourself, not just can you trust your friends, but can you trust the friends of your friends? This is going back to social media. It's not just who you know, it's who they know. Be very careful with the information you put out there. 2, don't send mail from your mailbox. Don't put up the flag. Give it either directly to the postal worker when they drive by, or drop it off at a post office. Because a lot of those flags are looking for pre-screened, those promotional offers in the mail, you can do yourself a favor and just opt out. Go to optoutprescreen.com. That is a legal, federally mandated site. You can put your information in there, and within a matter of a few days, you will notice fewer and eventually no new promotional offers from credit card companies, insurance companies. You will continue to get offers from those creditors and insurance companies you already have or have had done business with, but not with new ones. Check your credit regularly, annualcreditreport.com. It's free. It does not hurt your credit. You want to know, it's going to list on there who's looking at your credit, plus all the activity. You want to make sure that you recognize it and that it belongs to you. As of 2018, we all have the right in this country to freeze our credit report so that nobody gets to see it unless we give them access via online. We go on and thought using a PIN. It doesn't hurt your credit. It doesn't stop your credit from growing or building. It doesn't close your credit card accounts. It just keeps any new accounts from being opened. Much better than, much more effective than just putting a fraud alert on your credit report. It's a credit freeze. It's free. You can do it as many times as you want. You freeze it. You can even set it to refreeze on a given day. It's a great thing that happened back in 2018. And get a shredder. Personal information. You don't throw it in the garbage unless you send it through a shredder. Now, if there was something in this webinar that you found of interest, please do consider liking this on your YouTube account and subscribing so that we can get this information out to others and let you know of upcoming webinars. Thank you. If you would like a certificate of completion for this webinar, please go to bit.ly, that's bit.ly/MF-ID2020. And that'll take you to a form to fill out. You will then enter in the passcode MF, that's money fit, MF identity. That's it. All lowercase, no capital letters, no numbers, no spaces, no dashes. MF identity. Thank you. And if you have any questions, do give us a call, do send us an email, or visit us at moneyfit.org/live is where you will find upcoming and archived weekly webinars. Have a great day.